Welcome to this inspiring story of Emma, a woman who turned struggle into hope and built a new future, not just for herself, but for many others. This is a story of quiet courage, dignity, and strength that refuses to break. Emma wakes up each morning before sunrise. She boils water and packs lunch for her children. Then she sits for a moment, staring at the wall in silence. She ties her scarf tightly and checks her old shoes before heading out. The sky is still dark as she walks to the bus. Her steps are slow and heavy, her bag filled with cleaning supplies, her mind full of worry. Nobody on the bus talks to her. They look at their phones or stare away. She holds the rail and stands quietly, already feeling tired in her mind. She gets off the bus in front of a big white house. The gate is closed and a camera watches. She rings the bell carefully and waits, looking down. The maid opens the door and leaves without a word. Emma steps inside softly, nods at the lady of the house, and starts her work. She dusts the books, folds the clothes, washes cups in silence, and picks toys off the marble floor. Then she goes upstairs. No one speaks to her unless they need something. Sometimes they even forget she is there. Emma hears their secrets by accident and remembers all of them. She knows what tea they drink, which child cries alone, what shows they watch, who they lie to, and how they ask for help. She notices the cracks in the perfect white walls, the cold hugs between the parents, the loneliness in the children's eyes. But she never tells anyone. She moves from room to room like a shadow, working with hands that do not rest. Her body hurts, but she stays quiet because words can be dangerous. Sometimes guests call her kind. Sometimes they ignore her like an old chair. Sometimes they blame her for small mistakes. She always says sorry. At home, she is a mother of 4, a woman with dreams buried under bills, a wife to a man who drinks too much, a heart that still hopes in secret. She comes home late, her feet hurting. She puts bread on the table without a word. Her children eat and laugh a little, and she watches them with love. Her husband asks if she found more work. She nods and avoids his eyes. He says nothing and falls asleep in his chair. Emma cleans again, this time her own home. She picks up toys and washes plates. Then she sits alone in the kitchen, staring at the floor. The next day, she goes to another house, this one with glass doors and flowers outside. She has worked there peacefully for months, until one day something changes. The lady of the house says a gold ring with a blue stone is missing. She asks Emma if she saw it. Emma shakes her head. There are no cameras, no proof, but the lady keeps asking over and over, then calls her husband, who looks at Emma with cold eyes. They tell her she has to leave until they find the ring. They say they are not blaming her, just being careful, but Emma knows what they believe. She walks away slowly with her bag, her heart beating loud, her face burning with shame, holding back tears. At home she tells no one the truth, only that the job ended early. Her children do not ask, but her husband frowns and says maybe she made a mistake, maybe she forgot to check, maybe they were right. Emma does not answer. She goes to her small room, closes the door and cries into her pillow where no one can hear. The next morning, her eyes are still red, but she forces herself to stand up. She makes tea and dry bread, kisses her youngest awake, braids her daughter's curly hair, and packs lunch in small bags. Her body feels heavy like stone, but her hands keep working. Her heart is full of silent pain, but she does not speak. She puts on her scarf and shoes, grabs her old cleaning bag, and walks to catch the morning bus. She knows the city better than most. Every street, every stop, every building she has cleaned, every face that forgot her name. Today, she goes to a nearby house where an old couple lives. They greet her with quiet smiles and speak kindly. They give her tea and a small treat, never asking too many questions or raising their voices. Emma feels safe there for a moment. She hums softly as she cleans, washing curtains and sweeping floors with calm hands. But peace does not last forever. Her phone buzzes in her bag. She reads the message with tired eyes, and her heart sinks again. Another house cancels her job. The woman says she heard the story and wants to be safe. One lost job turns into 3. The rumor spreads from house to house. Her name becomes a quiet warning, and doors begin to close. Emma does not scream or fight. She just sits on a bench outside, holding her phone in her hands, her face pale like a winter sky. At night, her husband gets angry. He asks why she lost the job. He throws a glass against the wall and says she brought shame again. She stands in the kitchen, holding her breath. She wants to yell or run or cry, but instead she picks up the broken glass and sweeps it into a pan. She tells herself she must be strong. She reminds herself she has to survive. She thinks of her children and the lunches they need every day. That night, she cannot sleep at all. She sits alone near the window, hugging her knees, watching the empty streets. In the morning, she calls an old friend named Sarah, who also cleaned houses in the past but had stopped a few years ago. Sarah listens with a kind voice. She says she heard about the bad story. She says people are quick to blame and slow to find the truth. Emma says she wants to work again, but not in those cold houses. She wants to clean on her own terms and protect her name. Sarah tells her, "Then let's try together." She says, "We will start with just one room." They meet in a small old shop with cracked walls and dusty shelves. They clean it together for many days. They scrub the windows until they shine. They paint the walls a light blue. They buy cheap but strong tools. They make small cards with their names and give them to trusted people. They promise honest, careful work and smile with quiet hope. Weeks pass and they get their first job. Then 2 more come from kind neighbors. Then a small office calls and gives them weekly work. They hire a young girl from the neighborhood who had also lost her job without reason. They teach her how to clean with care and speak with respect. Emma starts to smile more each day. Her back still hurts, but her spirit feels light. Her children see her laughing again and come to talk with her. She tells her daughter about dreams, about school and building a better life, about not letting shame win, about walking proudly even with little. Her husband watches from the side. He sees her light coming back. He does not say much now, and sometimes leaves early to walk. Emma does not ask him for help anymore. She finds her strength in her hands, in her voice, in her name, in her growing story. One day, she walks past the house where the ring went missing. She stands across the street and looks for a long moment. She remembers the woman's face, the cold words, the pain of being accused, the way no one believed her. She turns and walks away proudly. She does not need to go inside again. She has cleaned her name through her work and found something better. That night, she sleeps without fear, her hands still rough and tired, but her mind calm and her heart strong. Her small cleaning team grows quickly. More houses call every week. People talk about Emma's name and say her work is full of care. She walks proudly on her street. Children wave at her. Neighbors greet her with kind words. She is not rich in gold or land, but rich in trust and gentle peace. She owns her tools and her time, and that makes her feel alive. Sarah tells her the plan is working. She says they will hire one more soon. They laugh over tea in the shop while writing names in a notebook. Emma goes home after sunset now, tired but warm inside. She cooks with her daughter and talks about small, happy things. Her youngest son helps clean the floor. Her older boy fixes a broken chair. The house is still small and old, but love fills every corner. She puts her phone on the table and shows her kids their school pictures. She says, "You are my light always," and kisses their foreheads gently. Every night, she thanks the quiet sky for work, for bread, for health. She feels grateful for friends who helped her and the peace she has again. But peace is not always simple. Some days are hard and heavy. Not all clients are kind or fair, and not all stories end in smiles. One morning, a woman shouts at Emma, saying the floor was not clean enough, and slams the door in her face, throwing her tools outside. Emma picks them up in silence, her hands shaking with shame. She walks away without a word, but something inside burns. Sarah finds her crying alone behind the shop. Sarah tells her, "You are not their dust." Emma nods with tired eyes. They make a new rule the next day. No more work where respect is missing. No job is worth breaking your soul. No money is worth losing your name. They add this to every card. We clean with care and human heart. Clients who agree are welcome. Others are left behind in silence. Word spreads through the city about Emma and her brave path. Young girls come asking for work, wanting to learn and feel safe. Emma becomes more than a cleaner. She becomes a teacher and a guide. She shares her story and her struggle, and it becomes a light for others. One girl, named Clara, works hard. She lost her mum a year ago and lives with an aunt and baby brother. She cleans to keep going to school. Emma sees herself in Clara's eyes, the same quiet strength and hidden tears. She teaches her to smile with calm and hold pride in every job. They clean together in a hotel room, folding sheets and wiping mirrors. They laugh about small mistakes and talk about dreams in between. Emma tells Clara, "You are not small," and adds, "Your story is far from over." Clara hugs her softly and calls her Mama without fear. Back at home, things start to change. Her husband drinks less and talks less. He watches Emma from a distance, but no longer raises his voice. One day, he says he wants to help. He says he is tired of doing nothing. He offers to fix pipes or carry things for Emma's team. Emma listens without answering, but tells Sarah about it later. Sarah just shrugs and smiles, saying, "People change when light comes." They give him small tasks each week. He works with quiet hands and steady eyes. He does not shout or leave early anymore and begins coming home on time. Emma does not dream of big things like cars or fancy houses. She dreams of calm mornings with warm bread and peace in her heart. She dreams of her children growing up strong and kind, not carrying her pain, but using her story as a guide. One evening, she reads a letter from a woman far away who heard about Emma's team and wants them to come speak. Emma feels shocked and afraid. She has never stood before a crowd, but her children hold her hands and say, "Go, Mama." So she travels with Sarah and Clara. They sit on the train wide-eyed, seeing tall buildings, bright lights, and busy streets. It feels like a dream. The hall is small, but filled with faces. Women from many places, some with tears, some with hopeful smiles. They wait for Emma to speak. Emma stands with shaking hands, but her voice is steady. She says, "I was once invisible," and the room goes quiet. She shares her story, from morning bus rides to false blame, from heartbreak to the shop, from loss to finding a new life. When she finishes, they all clap softly, with full hearts. They stand and hug her, one by one, thanking her for her voice. Later, Emma sits alone, under the stars, outside the city. She smiles and breathes deeply, whispering, "I am seen at last." After the trip, her light stays strong. More calls come for her team. The cleaning work grows with respect and kindness. Emma now walks proudly. Every girl who joins her learns to stand tall in Emma's light. The shop is busy every day. More phones ring with new clients. Some people ask only for Emma. Some want the younger girls too. They wear clean shirts with their names and carry fresh tools. They move with care and leave every place shining. Clients leave thank you notes on doors and sometimes bread or tea by the steps. Emma keeps a notebook with names and details, putting stars next to kind homes and dots next to rude ones. The team finds a rhythm. They split the work well. Clara leads mornings, Emma checks final jobs, and Sarah handles messages. She knows who pays on time and who does not. She calls each girl after the day to ask about their mood. Sometimes they work in silence. Sometimes they sing while cleaning. Sometimes they cry together and hug to feel strong again. Each girl has her own story. Some lost family, some lost dreams, some escaped pain from old places. But here, they find safe ground again. One day, they get a big offer. A hotel wants them for 3 days of cleaning. Emma feels nervous, but agrees with calm courage. They leave on the train early, carrying bags and food. They reach the hotel before sunrise and begin with full hearts. They clean floors and big rooms, polish mirrors and heavy doors. They work in pairs, sharing jokes. They rest in short breaks and smile. The manager watches and says, "Your team works like gold," and offers them more work. That evening, they sit by the sea with bread, tea, and warm shawls. They talk about their dreams again. Emma says she wants a space, not just a shop, but a center, a place to train and help more girls to work safely and feel hope. Clara says she wants to study business and teach others and help her brother one day to buy their own house. Sarah looks out at the waves and says, "I want less pain inside." They all sit quietly for a moment, letting the sea speak for them. When they return the next day, Emma finds a letter in her door from a lawyer in the city. She feels worried it might be bad news. But Sarah reads it aloud, her hands shaking. The letter says, "A woman left Emma her house, not big or new, but real land." The woman wrote, "Emma's words stayed with me. Her quiet strength gave me peace. and I want to give her more. They visit the house the next week, a small place with quiet trees, old paint, broken tiles, but strong walls filled with light. Emma cries without sound, touching the walls with her hands. She says, "This is a beginning." They start cleaning right away. They fix the roof with help from neighbors. They paint the doors and plant flowers. They turn one room into a kitchen and another into a training hall. The girls bring chairs and books, ready for more. They hang pictures on soft-colored walls. Each evening, they light candles and call it the House of Hope. More women start arriving, some young and unsure, some older with tired steps, all searching for a fresh chance. Emma talks with each woman alone, asking their names and dreams. She offers them work if they wish, or first gives them warm food and tea. Some only stay one day. Some stay for weeks and grow stronger. Some cry and sleep for hours, then wake with new courage. It becomes more than just work. It turns into a place for healing, where no one asks too many questions and no one judges their pain. One day, Emma is invited to speak at a nearby school. A teacher wants the children to learn about real work and real life. Emma feels shy inside, but walks in with steady steps. She stands in front of curious eyes and shares her truth with care. She tells them, work is not shame. She says being poor is not dirt. She explains that kindness builds more homes than stone or gold ever can. The children clap warmly. They send letters later with drawings of hearts and brooms, calling her Aunt Emma. Some of her old clients hear about this. A few feel sorry. Others stay silent. One rich woman sends a gift with a small note that says, "Sorry." Emma opens it alone. It is a small ring with a folded letter. She reads the words slowly, then puts the ring in a drawer. She does not go back to them or ask for another talk. She tells herself, "I forgave through my work," and moves on without hate. The past still lives in her heart, but does not silence her voice. She lets it teach her, not burn her. She lets it rest, not hurt. On weekends, they gather in the evenings. They cook meals together in the house. They play music, share laughter, and talk about simple joys. Children run through the yard. The girls braid each other's hair. Someone reads stories from an old book while the moon listens above. Life is not perfect. Bills still come, and some days feel heavy, but they face everything together with steady eyes and joined arms. Emma sleeps peacefully now. Her bed is still small and worn, but her heart feels wide, clear, and strong, with a fire that no longer burns her. She wakes early, makes her tea slowly, sits in quiet, and watches the sky. The house is still, the kids still asleep, the morning calm and soft. She lights a small candle, holds her warm cup, thinks about the day ahead, and closes her eyes. It has been a hard week, with many houses to clean, new faces to meet, and old wounds to carry. One woman cried yesterday, another was angry, some were kind, but most stayed silent. Emma said nothing back. She just finished her work, cleaned each floor, and left without a word. She does not expect thanks or hugs, only a quiet goodbye or a slow closing door. Still, in her heart, she hopes someone will see not just the broom she holds, but the person she is. Her team is growing. Now they are 5, all women, Like her strong, yet gentle, they move from house to house with hands that might tremble, but hearts that do not quit, and heads held high. Emma leads them with calm care. She speaks gently and clearly, shows them the way, and walks beside them. They follow her steps, learning to clean well, but also to stand tall and never forget their worth. At night, they meet in Emma's small room, sharing mint tea and resting tired feet. Sometimes they talk for a long time. Other nights they sit in silence, but always they feel safe there. Emma looks at them, proud and warm, not just because of the work they do, but because they stayed. They did not leave when the storm came. They walked through it, slowly, and now they shine, even with dirt on their hands. Emma smiles to herself. When everyone sleeps, she writes one line in her small blue notebook. She writes, "We are here. We are still here. And we are not finished. We are only beginning." The next morning, Emma woke early as usual. She made warm tea and shared bread with her team. Clara was excited, telling everyone about a small school that needed help cleaning once a week. Sarah listened with hope. They decided to take the job together, happy for more work. Emma felt proud, seeing how the girls planned and worked as a team. They wrote down details in their notebook and shared small tasks. Emma reminded them to work with care and to speak kindly. Later that day, Emma visited the small house the lawyer had given her. The place was quiet, with trees moving gently in the wind. She walked through each room, touching the walls, thinking of all the women who might find peace here. She decided to open one more training room so the girls could learn not just cleaning, but numbers and reading too. When she told the team about this plan, their faces lit up. Clara said she wanted to teach reading. Sarah offered to help with numbers. Emma smiled at them, feeling a warm, strong love. Days passed, and more women arrived. One was a mother with a baby. She had nowhere to go. Emma showed her a quiet corner with a soft blanket and warm tea. The woman cried with relief and called Emma an angel. Emma shook her head and said, "I am just like you." In the evenings, Emma still walked home, tired but peaceful. Her children waited for her with stories about school. Her youngest showed her a drawing of a house with a flower outside and wrote, "Mama's Hope House" under it. Emma held the paper to her heart. One weekend, the team decided to plant flowers around their new house of hope. They dug small holes and laughed together, their hands covered in dirt. They planted bright yellow flowers, and Emma thought they looked like sunlight. As time went on, the neighborhood noticed them. More people came by, leaving bread or small gifts. An older man offered to fix their broken fence. A kind woman brought them tea and soap. Emma realized the world had many people ready to help if someone was brave enough to begin. She also saw her husband changing. He still did not speak much, but now he helped carry boxes and sometimes watched the children while Emma worked. He apologized in a small voice one night. Emma nodded, but said nothing. Forgiveness, she thought, is not one moment, but many moments. Emma stood in the doorway of the House of Hope one evening, looking at the flowers, hearing the laughter of the girls, and smelling warm bread from inside. She took a long breath. Her story was not finished, but it was growing stronger every day. That evening, after everyone had eaten, Emma sat outside on a small wooden chair. The air was cool, and she could see the moon bright above the rooftops. Clara came out to sit with her, holding 2 cups of warm tea. They sipped in silence, feeling calm. Clara told Emma that she had been saving money. She wanted to take a short class in the city to learn bookkeeping. Emma smiled and said that was a wonderful idea. She promised to help watch Clara's baby brother if needed. Clara's eyes filled with tears. She said, "You make me brave." Emma patted her hand gently. The next day was busy. More women arrived, one from a far town who had run away from a bad husband. Emma sat with her in the kitchen, gave her warm soup, and listened to her fears. She reminded the woman that she was safe here. The woman cried softly, but ate the soup and thanked Emma again and again. The days felt long, but Emma did not mind. The girls worked house to house, and some even cleaned offices. They came back in the evenings tired, but with stories of kindness from clients. Emma told them to hold on to those good stories because they would make the hard days easier. One afternoon, a letter came from a local group that supported women's rights. They invited Emma to speak about her work. Emma was nervous, but thought of all the girls who had joined her. She agreed to go, knowing her story might help even more women. At the event, Emma wore her simple scarf and clean dress. She stood on a small stage with a microphone. Her hands shook a little, but her voice was calm. She talked about respect, about never giving up, about finding your worth even when the world tries to take it away. The crowd clapped with warm hands, and some cried. Emma left that place with a new energy. More people came to help at the House of Hope, donating books and food. They brought paint for the walls and even toys for the children. Emma saw the girls laugh more each day and dream bigger dreams. One night, Sarah came to Emma and hugged her tight. She said, "I never thought I could feel this strong." Emma smiled with quiet pride. She told Sarah they were building not just clean rooms, but clean hearts and brave futures. Emma went to bed that night in her small room, listening to the calm breath of her children sleeping nearby. Her own heart was calm and wide. She looked around and whispered, "Thank you," to the silent walls that now held so much hope. The next week, Emma and her team finished their usual work early one day. They decided to gather everyone in the House of Hope's big room. Emma wanted to talk to them about the future. The sun was warm through the windows, and the girls sat in a circle, some holding their children on their laps. Emma stood in the middle and spoke softly. She said she was thinking of opening more houses like this one, maybe in other towns where women needed help. The girls looked surprised, but Clara smiled first and clapped. Others soon joined. Emma felt a small spark of courage inside. They talked about how to save money for this dream. Some girls offered to give a little from their earnings each week. Sarah said she would speak to other women in nearby areas to see if they needed the same safe place. The plan was small, but felt powerful. Later that evening, Emma helped Clara study her bookkeeping lessons at the table. The children played on the floor nearby. Emma explained numbers and showed her how to write receipts. Clara tried hard, her brow tight, but soon she smiled with pride. One night, a young girl named Amina arrived at the house. She was only 16, scared, and carrying nothing but a small bag. Emma took her hand and showed her a warm bed. She made her tea and sat close as Amina told her story. Emma listened without judging, then promised she would have work if she wanted it. Amina slept peacefully for the first time in many weeks. Days became weeks, and more good news came. The manager of the hotel called again, offering Emma's team steady work every month. It was a big chance enough to pay the rent and keep helping new women. Emma's heart felt lighter, and she said yes with steady courage. The team grew to 8 cleaners. Emma trained each new girl with patience and respect. She taught them how to hold their heads high even on the hardest days, how to greet clients kindly, and how to walk away from places that did not show them respect. One evening, Emma went to visit the small house that she had once cleaned, where she was blamed for the lost ring. She stood outside the gate, but did not go in. She watched the lights inside, remembering her pain. Then she turned and walked away without hate, feeling truly free. At the House of Hope, they began hosting small classes on Sundays. A local teacher came to teach reading and writing. Another visitor taught basic first aid. The girls joined in happily, eager to learn and build new skills. Emma saw their faces grow brighter with every lesson. That night, she sat on her small bed, writing in her blue notebook again. She wrote, "We are growing like trees, with deep roots and strong branches. We will stand through every storm." Months passed, and Emma's team grew steady and strong. They had enough clients to pay for the House of Hope and still help women in need. The new girls, who came with broken spirits, slowly found calm and courage. Emma watched them laugh more, stand taller, and believe again. Clara finished her bookkeeping class. She could now manage the money for the team with confidence. Sarah started training another group of girls who wanted to open a second House of Hope in a nearby town. Emma felt proud seeing these dreams come true. At home, Emma's children were growing fast. Her daughter won a small prize for her drawing at school. Her sons helped her cook and learned to fix things around their tiny apartment. Her husband worked part-time now, carrying heavy loads for a neighbor. He still spoke little, but he tried to stay kind. Emma saw that even broken people could change with time. One afternoon, Emma stood alone outside the House of Hope. She looked at the fresh paint on the walls, at the girls inside laughing, at the flowers blooming in old pots. A wave of peace filled her. She had turned her pain into purpose. That night, Emma wrote her last words in her blue notebook. She wrote, "I was once small, but now I am strong. I was once silent, but now I have a voice. We are not perfect, but we are free." Then she closed the book, blew out her candle, and lay down to sleep with a calm heart. Outside, the city kept moving, but Emma had found her place in it, a place made of trust, care, and hope. If Emma's journey touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe so more voices like hers can be heard. Leave us a comment about how you stay strong during hard times. Let's keep these stories alive together.